Do you yield? I do not.
Hello everyone, it's kinda burnt. I'm kinda burnt. I wasn't gonna do this because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of fighting a head cold right now. I don't know the quality of this video, but I'm so low-key hyped, I figured I would take a stab at this anyway. For those who don't know, the Super Mario Bros. Trailer dropped finally today on a Nintendo Direct. And it only occurred to me afterward that I could have done a live reaction, but there were a few things that I wanted to play it over and just kind of comment on some things that I noticed. So right out of the gate, to quote something the YouTuber Arlo says quite a bit, Nintendo does the most unexpected things, but you can expect Nintendo to do the most unexpected things. This trailer, all the things that I thought would be a typical Nintendo way of doing things, what they would lead with, what they would say, what would be the tone, etc. I wasn't even close. And from the very first frame, it's a surprise. I don't want to take a dump on Illumination or something, but typically, I have not enjoyed... It's not necessarily their movies, it's their character designs, and their color palettes, and their... just the way that they design their movies. They don't appeal to my tastes. That's the fairest way to put it. But straight into the trailer, it is freaking gorgeous. The color choices, the adhering to already sort of the Super Mario aesthetic, like the round shapes and the low-key, like, realistic elements that you might see in, like, Super Mario Odyssey or some of the other games. It's just gorgeous. Okay, so I've seen plenty of people geek out about this already, but I was probably geeking out about it for different reasons. For starters, I expected they would save Bowser for the end, or they would just sort of tease him. This is what I get for not taking this seriously, but I thought that they would almost play Bowser as a laugh, as a goof. Given that they cast Jack Black, I expected not this. I think it's kind of brilliant, and from the get-go, sort of shows the hand that Illumination and Nintendo are playing, that they know what they're doing. I say that because I think they're leading with Bowser because I think they're super proud of it, but also to demonstrate they lead with the most intimidating version of Bowser ever. And show that they've taken time to just really spend on his menace. It's not enough that he's on a ship. It's not enough that he has like a volcano base. It's not enough that he has like a total like fire or dark area all to his own on the map. It frickin' flies. It combines all the coolest elements of Bowser's stuff. And we haven't even seen him yet. It's a very pointed, sort of brilliant thing to like introduce us to this snow area and then drop Bowser right in the middle of it, just demanding your attention. And I think it becomes more apparent why they do that as this goes on. And I'll try to touch on that in a second.
Behold, the king of the Pumas!
Probably no one's batting an eye at all at this point in the trailer, but I love Kevin Michael Richardson. I've loved him in everything he's ever done, He is one of my favorite voice actors, and even then I underestimated it. I've heard his normal voice, and I kind of expected it for no good reason, that's what Kamek would sound like. But then he appears on screen, and it's like, it's perfect. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't want to put words to it. Like, there's a sort of femininity, but there's also like a daughtery quality. There's pomp and circumstance, and my wife and I have been watching The Crown a lot lately, so I guess that resonated with me for some reason. And all these Koopa soldiers, I don't know. I kind of had hoped to see some Koopas without regalia and armor and stuff, but whatever, it's fine. They resemble a specific enemy in the game, and I can't remember which Koopa Troopa it is. I'm more a Zelda fan than a Mario fan, so you'll have to forgive me on that. It is, I think a purposeful tactic that they've done. They're not just announcing it to this kingdom, they're announcing it to us in a meta way. Here's Bowser. Which, people are going to be like, duh. I don't think you quite know what you're in for. You come to this thinking one thing, and then you get this. As a fan of, kaiju films and monster films, I got chills right here. And people will probably roll their eyes at me for that. But does he not look just imposing here? It's already won me over, and I haven't even heard anything yet. The weight, the presence, the mass, the displacement, all the gravity of that situation in him. I mean, I'm probably putting more meaning into it than there is, but it demands attention. I really think this is Nintendo and Illumination saying that they've come to play. All the things that you expected, all the stuff that you had predetermined, preconceived notions of what this is going to be, you're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. Also, are these bullet bills? Are these bullet bill projectiles or hand cannons or something? Here's our first kind of taste of what I assume the comedy's going to be like, but I know it's going to skew a little younger, so sue them, whatever. I still chuckle. But yeah, anyway. I love this design. I love it. At first glance, you're going to be like, it looks just like Bowser from the games, but the scaliness and the ridges and the bumps and the hair and how the horns feel and how the texture of the shell is, just, I freaking love it. But that's not even the best part, in my opinion.
Open the gates!
Jack Black's voice is perfect. I don't care what anyone says. It's perfect. Again, I expected him to just kind of come into a booth and just do his lines, but no. He's got the growliness. He's got the graveliness. I dare say I like his voice better than in the games. I think it works. I know a lot of people are probably not going to think twice about this either. But this also makes me think that Nintendo and Illumination know exactly what they're doing. Because they know a huge portion of the people who are going to go see this movie played Mario 64. And spent endless hours either taking these penguins to their mother or throwing them off the ledges. And if that doesn't just immediately fill you with nostalgia, and I know that the penguins have had presence in the franchise for a long time, but that's deeply embedded. I know that had to have been part of the reason why they're doing what they're doing right here. That immediately grabs you in the memory department, and it certainly worked on me. I was like, okay, yeah. I probably shouldn't say anything, but just the way that they're so gung-ho and the severity of a Game of Thrones episode almost, they're going to their deaths and then the anticlimax that comes. It's pretty low common denominator humor, but it got me. I mean, it's probably going to skew towards kids or, towards broader audiences, whatever. I don't know, it spoke to me on a childish level. I thought it was really funny. But look at that stance, man. They've tweaked his design ever so slightly. So he's just a tiny bit bulkier, but he's also sort of saurian, almost kaiju-ish. I know that I keep going back to that, but I probably shouldn't. Just the bigness and the bulkiness, and pretty sure they lengthened his tail. I'm almost wondering if that's going to play into the plot at some point, if Mario's going to have to throw him off a ledge into a bomb or something. Or maybe that's wishful thinking. If this is the kind of humor that I'm in for, I don't hate it. I mean, I'm not coming for highbrow stuff, but this could have been worse. I'm almost wondering, everyone has been saying, like, they're going to just turn the Toads into minions. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe we missed the mark a little bit. It seems like maybe the clearer choice are the Koopas, because to endlessly wail on Koopas, it's a victimless crime, really. If you do that to Toads, or if you try to do the same thing to Toads and electrocute them, smash them, throw them around, I don't know. I won't say it will alienate people, but it seems like it's endlessly more fun to torture Koopas. It makes more sense here, and I certainly laughed. I mean, it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit, but the mind kind of boggles. Like, how many different ways can you screw with the Koopas?
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield?
It's so silly. But I love how over the top this is. I don't know. It will probably get cringy after a while, but I certainly really liked it.
I do not.
Something about that's perfect to me. Some people probably won't agree with me, but Bowser seems sinister. Bowser seems almost kind of scary, like he just doesn't care. Jack Black brings something to it. I don't know exactly what it is. Like, it's probably preconceived stuff that we already bring to the table with the fact that we're watching Jack Black do this. This scene really works, like, for me anyway. This speaks to me on a molecular level. The sheer raw power of this, like... It's an easy win for me, because I see anything like Godzilla's atomic breath bring a building down, you've got me. Sorry. Like, you expect something, I dare say, kid-friendly, or, like, toned down a little bit. But Bowser in this seems incredibly overpowered. In the games, you maybe expect a fireball or two. This is a gout of flame that tears down a building. I'm all for it, man. I would love to see... the mind kind of boggles now, stakes-wise, like, how is Mario going to go up against this guy? Again, I think this speaks to the fact that we had this vision of what this would be, given the voice cast, and how odd it was, and we expected something silly. We expected something that didn't take itself super-duper seriously, and it seems like this is showing us that it's at least taking itself somewhat seriously in some respects. Like, there's a weight to it. There's, I would almost say, a reverence to it. I certainly got giddy at this point. Like, I thought, Bowser's an actual threat.
I finally found it.
Something about this image just makes me so happy. The colors. Like I was saying earlier about Illumination so often is like, I hate their color palettes. I hate their character designs. Hate's a strong word. I don't like them. But something about this, it's gorgeous. And the Power Stars have something to do with the storyline now. That's an interesting wrinkle we didn't know before. I wonder what that means. Again, I think this is the most obvious Jack Black comes out in Bowser at this point, but I like it. I think he was the right choice. Like, it's probably pareidolia. It's probably me projecting, but you can almost feel Jack Black's mania, or like how he's animated almost. I doubt that there was like motion cap or anything, but something decidedly about this version of Bowser seems like it was grafted onto Jack Black or vice versa. It just sort of feels right.
Who's gonna stop me?
Prepping for this part. People are probably going to get upset. This feels very much like the entrance, like the intro to Super Mario Odyssey. I don't know if that's on purpose. I'm less concerned about that more than I am like the sort of quiet, calming rendition of the Mario theme here. Like, didn't expect it, but it's nice. It's zen, and I really like that what it adds to this particular part of this. But look like, again, it's speaking to the stuff that I was talking about earlier, like just how the colors pop and the realism works with it, and it's so pleasant and so nice to look at. Like, I can feel the texture. It's just good job, Illumination. Seriously. I actually really like the design. I know that people are sort of up in arms about it, but I think it looks great. They haven't really changed all that much. I mean, there's some textures, and there's their hair, and there's the fuzziness of the cap, sort of, and the shirt, and the overalls have a different design, the gloves have a different design. Mario's face has been tweaked a tiny bit, but that's quintessential Mario. And it looks so good in motion. My first Mario game was Mario 64, but I've gone on to play the other games. And I know that some people, their first experience was in a 2D world on the NES or Super NES, and then they come to see this. This is what kids thought, probably. This is how the Mushroom Kingdom felt to them. This is what was going on inside a kid's imagination while playing Mario, and to see it fully rendered is just, like, it's almost Pandora-ish, like Avatar-ish almost. That's hyperbolic, but, like, man, it looks really good. Especially considering what I thought we were going to get, this looks really good. Just beautiful.
What is this place?
Okay, so here's the elephant in the room. I've watched a bunch of different people react to this trailer at this point, and they get to this part, and they grimace, and they guffaw, and they're like, ugh. And you have every right to feel the way that you do. I don't even necessarily disagree with you, because right out of the gate, it does just sound like Chris Pratt. And I know that he's problematic and divisive to a lot of people, and I'm trying very hard, especially as I get older, to differentiate the artist from the art. Full disclosure, just me being honest, I don't have a problem with it. I love Charles Martinet. I love what he brought to the character, but I don't know that I could have watched a movie with his voice for 2 hours or an hour and a half. I just don't think I could. I mean, it's Chris Pratt, whatever. I don't see why so many people are up in arms about it. It seems like it's pre-charged and it's about something else. People are just upset about, oh, it's Chris Pratt. I'm going to wait and see. I'm sure it will be fine. I don't personally mind it. It doesn't bother me that much. I, for one, am very happy about the expressiveness of some of these characters. You see it definitely here in Mario's face. Like, again, I was sort of concerned that we'd have a lot of static, sort of non-expressive models, because it's not fair for me to say this because they're two different companies, but one of the things that Toho doesn't like is when depicting Godzilla, that Godzilla shows a lot of emotion. I don't know why that is, but it's one of their standards that you don't, if you're using the character, you can't have him show a lot of distinct emotion. And which is why some of the more recent Godzilla movies, Godzilla as a character just kind of doesn't do much. And why so many people were so happy about in Godzilla vs. Kong when he finally shows like a jeer, like he's almost pleased with himself. They managed to sneak that past Toho and get it into the movie. Like, a lot of people appreciated that. But for the most part, you expect it just to be this kind of bland, unemotive creature, and I was projecting a worry onto this movie that we weren't going to get something like that. But then we get stuff like this, and and just where you pause, it's blink and you miss it stuff, but it's stuff I appreciate because there is a lot of emotion in these stills, and that makes me happy. My tangential point was that a lot of the faces he makes reminds me of in Mario 64's start menu, when you can push and pull his face and make it look silly to show off the 3D tech at the time. I really like that. It's probably not intentional, but that's where my mind went.
You'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfect.
I love Toad. I love Keegan-Michael Key to begin with. I think he's super talented. I've been watching him, along with Jordan Peele, even before Key and Peele, when they were on Mad TV together. And I think that Key is one of the most, I don't want to say underappreciated, because it seems like he's having a moment right now where he seems to be in everything, but I'm personally happy for him, because you want talented people to be recognized for how talented they are. Admittedly, when I heard that he was going to be playing Toad, first blush I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know necessarily what he would bring to it, and I'll admit what he's doing here is completely different from what I thought he would be doing, because, I don't know, you get raised up on, Aaron Hansen's Toad voice or something, and that's sort of what you expect in the back of your mind. I really like Toad's voice. I really like what they did here. And I really like Toad. We've seen very, very, very little by way of what he's doing or characterization, but I think he's kind of adorable. The Toad cap almost feels like a hat, like it's fabric almost. I doubt they will do something like that from the Super Mario TV show, but first blush, that's kind of how it feels. All of the mushrooms sort of feel that way, like they're made of cloth, which is interesting to me. Like they're almost pillows, like decorative pillows or something. But yeah, I think the voice that he's got, I think that the voice that he's developed for Toad, it's definitely the register, the high, I can't even do it right now with my voice, but the high register that he's got going as Toad. I mean, he dips back into more of his normal voice, but it's fine. I think it's good. I think we're finally seeing the strength of the choices that they've made, that they weren't random necessarily, and that they actually brought a lot to the table. They're not just necessarily shoving people in there, and I'm really happy to see that. So often you go and you see an animated movie, and it's just a big name cast, and they're just playing themselves, which is why a lot of people are pissed off about Chris Pratt, because so far it sounds like Chris Pratt, name recognition. But so far, most of the characters we've seen have, they're playing characters, they're doing work. They're stepping outside of what is known or what is expected of them, and they're doing interesting stuff, and I'm happy about that.
Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
Alright, so a friend of mine had to point this out to me, and after countless rewatches, I hear it too. At first I thought Mario, it was just Chris Pratt. Again, I wasn't super bothered by it. But having listened to it over and over again, I see now that's not the case. There is a sort of, here we go, sort of attempt. Some people are going to be pissy about it no matter what. They're going to project and they're going to say, well, he just half-assed it. He didn't do all the work. It could also be that they didn't want to stomp all over Charles Martinet's toes. They didn't want to have just a weird approximation, and it's entirely possible that, it's not exactly politically correct anymore, right? I don't know where the line is, but to attempt, different accents and stuff, it's a weird time. So they're probably towing a pretty thin line here. And no one's really going to be happy about it. No one really wins here, which is probably one of the reasons why they took so long to make a Mario movie in the first place. Like, how do you do justice to that when you're going to make so many people upset? And I think, here's my long-term point that I was building to. I think the reason that this trailer smacks of, like, intelligent design, the reason that this trailer demonstrates to me that Nintendo and Illumination knew what they were doing, is that they led with Bowser because Mario is the harder sell. I think most people were on board with Jack Black from the get-go. They might have thought it was odd, but Jack Black, by and large, still has a fan base and is known for being Jack Black, and people 9 times out of 10 tend to love him. But the Chris Pratt thing seems to be more contentious, and they probably saved that here to either sort of start strong. I've already seen how some people are like, okay, cool, or some people are like, this is terrible. So I personally think that this shows that they're very self-aware about what they've got here, and they're leading with the stuff that they knew would work best. We have a highly intimidating, stakes-raising Bowser, and now we have a Mario that may or not work for everybody coming in at the very end. But it helps that Toad is there. Toad, I think, seems to have won over just about everybody. So, good on you, Key. And, here's Mushroom Kingdom, and all the hills and stuff. Lightly Pandora-ish. What can I say? I like it. What can I say? I'm so happy about Charlie Day being in this. I remember the day that they announced the cast and they got to Luigi, and I was so happy. I was very audibly happy. I love Charlie Day, but man, is that not the perfect casting for Luigi? And come on, this is obviously getting us to warm up to the idea that not only is Luigi like the scared brother, the nervous brother, the anxiety-ridden brother, this is a Luigi's Mansion pitch. I'm all there for it. Like, how can it not be? April 7th. Okay, I guess that's it. I'm pretty tired. I'm still not feeling great. My medicine is already starting to wear off. I can feel it, but I just wanted to say a few stuff about that, and I'm pretty excited. April 7th can't come soon enough. In the meantime, friends, I will see you later. Burn out.